I'm not sure whether I got this from Darmon or Jay Shetty or what modern day sage I got this from, but are you all familiar with this anecdote? A professor writes down 10 very simple math problems like 1 plus 9, 2 plus 8, 3 plus 7, 4 plus 6, 5 plus 5. Does all of them but one correctly? And suddenly the class roars in laughter. There's a small chuckle which comes into a bit of a giggle as the professor turns around somewhat comically, eyes wide, brows heightened, piece of chalk still in hand, and asks, what's so funny? One of the more judicious classmates who've attempted to not laugh clears their throat and says, well, professor, you've got one wrong. And the professor pauses, looks at their math, checks all one by one and sees the last one, goes, yes, I did. I suppose I did. And the professor corrects their mistake and turns over to the class and goes, well, I also got 9 correct. Why is it that you all are focusing on the one mistake when I've written the correct answer 9 times? I don't know what the story is about. The story might be about how we have a kind of negative bias, a negative information bias. All the good things in the world could happen to us, but one bad thing could possibly spoil our day, right? I've gained something like 490 subscribers in the last 28 days, and that is shocking. That is fantastic. I am incredibly grateful for all of you to sharing your love and your focus on me. I lost 4 this morning. At the time of recording this, I lost 4. After 600, I started feeling like, oh, okay, cool. And when I lost 4, I suddenly felt a great pit in my stomach. And it's crazy that I would ignore 486 people for that 4, but it's very common, isn't it? Aren't we predisposed to look at the wrong things and hyper-focus on them? And there are many prospective arguments you could have on that, like, of course we would focus on that. Of course. Wrong things can affect you or other people terribly. You don't need to worry about doing the right thing, because when you do the right thing, everything's working properly, right? You don't shout when things are going well. You shout when things go wrong. And because of that, our ears have gotten attuned to when someone shouts that way, when we recognize something's gone wrong. But really, why do we give making mistakes so much ceremony? Unless it greatly impacts the life of you or a friend, these small little missteps or these small downward trends should not affect us as deeply as they do. If anything, we should be more happy about all the ways that we excitingly elevate our lives. We're very commonly looking at the 10 questions and looking for the one mistake than we are celebrating the 9 victories. And I think by virtue of creating these, I'm a hypocrite, right? By virtue of creating this exercise where I'm constantly looking and nitpicking myself, it might be antithetical to the point I'm trying to make here, but ultimately we should be celebrating ourselves more than anything. It is a great deal of effort to not wonder where we went wrong. It gives us a kind of control over the situation if we immediately try to solve a problem as soon as it goes wrong. But sometimes bad things and mistakes will happen completely regardless of your input as well, right? Sometimes there's nothing you could have done. Whether it be, I didn't study enough, and the question just so happened to be something that was outside of my purview. Or maybe you were completely not expecting that banana on the side of the road and suddenly slipping over and messing up that wedding cake that you were carrying into the venue. Is it really your fault? Is it really the fault of the person who left the banana? Are these things really sequential? Or is it often just random chance? Is it often just the world? I want to impart something that was actually really freeing to hear for some reason to me, and I think that you'd get a great deal of enjoyment from it too. The world is not out to get you. The world doesn't owe you anything. The world is a cruel, random place where for absolutely no reason you might find yourself having the worst day possible, or might find yourself winning the lottery, or might find yourself middling, terribly middling for years on end. But the thing is, right, because the world is random. It means that there are some things that you couldn't have possibly prepared against. There will just be happenstances in life that will just be bad. And there will be ones that are good. Expecting that last final error, that missing question is a fool's errand, right? How much does that one really mean at the end of the day? When we've done 90% of it correctly and we've missed 10%, how much of that is really meaningful? I think we ought to be kinder to ourselves. I've said that ad infinitum. I'm wondering how many of these things have I said consistently enough that these videos start to blend together somewhat. But we ought to be kind to ourselves when things go wrong. They can't have always gone wrong because of us. And even if they do, well, is it really healthy to fixate on that? To look at it and laugh at yourself? Sure, it's good to be humorous, but is it good to maintain a tradition or a habit of making fun of yourself? I guess if your humor is good, if you can do it, not being at the expense of yourself, it could be good. But still, it's a bit worrisome to me. 9 out of 10. If things are going well 9 out of 10 times in your life, do you know how well you have it off? If the average of a good or bad day is 50-50, if you flip a coin enough times and you average out 50% bad days and 50% good days, a 51% in good days is already just fantastic, phenomenal. I will fight for my day for the majority of it. I will fight to have a good day from 8 a.m. in the morning up until 5. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 10 hours in a day, I will fight doggedly for my goodness. And then for the remaining, 6 hours? If the day wasn't good after all of my concerted effort towards making it well, give up. We'll get them next time. I've gotten better at just letting myself be upset very briefly for things that are out of my control and trying to move on. Ding, 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 10 minutes.